So, difference between violin and viola. Viola is a lot bigger.
Okay.
And the different size ranges vary if you're playing on a smaller instrument, because as music teachers, you have itty bitty people. And each size violin is like the size of my forearm. And then even go smaller than that. And then you probably have a full size. And it goes like eighth, quarter, half, 3/4, full size. Most people end up playing a full size, and then there's ranges. Older violins are all made different. So,
Yeah.
most of the newer stuff it's full size. Viola, on the other hand, it goes differently. They go by inch length.
Okay.
So the optimal like full size viola is like a 21-inch viola, so it's like way out here. But
so that's
nobody
not even,
plays. No,
okay.
This isn't even a full size. This is, I would say, this is probably a 15 or 16-inch, maybe a 15 and a half. Most younger students play it in 13.
Okay.
Or they start off like a 13, and then that's around like intermediate. That actually looks about the same size as a violin. And then you get to this. So we're talking about parts. So like you have your scroll,
Okay.
your tuning pegs, peg box, which is where all the strings are.
Okay.
Difference between violin and viola is tuned the same way in the fifths. It's just the top string on the viola is A, D, G, and then you end up on C, which is actually the same string as cello. Same string ratio, just lower. But so actually, the nice thing about string instruments is you got that A, which is the same. Excuse me, wrong string. The same A string as viola, just the string length and the ratio.
So it's like a continuation down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like bass is different because of different lengths too.
Yeah.
But so then you've got your 4 strings, your fingerboard, chin rest,
right,
shoulder rest, normal stuff. Then these are fine tuners.
Right.
The cool thing that recently came out is what they call a geared peg, which is a ratioed peg that you don't have to have fine tuners. It's like a fine tuner in a peg, and inside the peg is all these little tiny gears that turn the string at a certain rate depending on the instrument.
That's cool.
Those are really nice for newer, like, you think, oh, I don't have to go like this and do the whole this while I'm playing or something. But they're a little bit more on the expensive side.
Okay.
Blah, blah, blah. Getting then you got your bridge.
Right.
Which
it's not glued.
It's not glued. No. So these get knocked out of place easily. If a student were to drop a violin or something, first thing that happens is either tuning goes wacko, or the bridge will pop off.
Okay.
Just go like this.
How do you fix that then?
I mean, it's pretty simple. Like most people, adjustment just go like this. Like if it slides down or something. Getting it back in, you loosen the strings, set it in about the right place. If it ever happens, you'll see there's a bend in the string unless they're brand new strings. Even then, they automatically bend. And then there's almost always a small little marking or something there. Then the whole idea of a string instrument is the wood resonates. And the sound, you get your F holes, and this is where the sound comes out. Just like, a guitar and everything. And then inside, if you look, you can see that's the, excuse me, I'm having a dumb moment. Sound post, there we go. Sound post. And that transfers the vibrations. So when you play a string, the vibrations go down through the bridge and onto the top of the violin. And the larger part of the violin carries more of the lower tones and the higher tones. It almost serves like a speaker. So if you're like, bass speakers are bigger, tenor speakers are smaller. So it almost serves as that. and then the sound post transfers those same vibrations. So it's almost always, or is always, somewhere very close to the bridge, and that transfers the sound to the back of the violin where it does the exact same thing.
Wow.
So you want when you're playing to have the least amount of like touching this as you can. So that's why we have chin rests that are elevated and stuff like that. Optimal is almost, not even having anything attached to it. But that's not how modern players play. But yeah. Okay. So tuning.
Okay.
So tuning viola.
So
you
C,
get
G,
fine
D,
tuners.
and A, right?
Yeah, C, G, D, and A. And then on the violin, it's
G, D, A, E.
Yes, there you go. So there's just tuned in fifths, and then
And you always loosen first, right?
I
So is it off or is that?
don't do that.
You don't need to.
I
Is it
mean,
always
because
first?
it's there's that, especially on the violin, the E string, because it's such a thin string. Those are the strings that I always go.
Okay.
If a student or somebody goes all over the place.
So on bass, your strings must not pop pitch then? Or?
The bass string pops, because if a bass bridge pops, you hear it, and it goes flying. If a violin bridges pop sometimes when the weather changes, and they go pew, you will see them fly, and you hear them too because you go whoo. It's a really interesting thing. Okay, so you want to try tuning a viola?
I can try.
Okay. Let's see.
Must be fine, or do I use the fine or the?
I would use the fine because it's that close. Sometimes the other thing is the fine tuners, because those are almost all the way up, and then we'll just, for the sake of time, that's probably you would
Flat.
use. Yeah,
The top?
yeah. And right now is one of the fall, change from summer to fall, and spring to summer. It's the hardest time because the tuning just goes whack. Is it getting stuck?
Sticky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very sticky.
If you want to try tuning yours up.
These don't slide and stick.
That's the thing about strings. There's all sorts of different goops and stuff you can put on.
Right.
I repaired some this summer that it took me 2 days setting the violin in different air temperatures and stuff, and then tapping really carefully to knock a peg out enough that I could repair it and put goop and stuff. So they either get stuck or they don't stick.
Okay.
So let's just do a quick, put in the viola up and everything. I'm gonna grab my spoon. Okay, so go right ahead and I'll watch.
Okay, so do you want me to do it the way that you taught us then?
Yeah, coming from rest position.
The special way?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So you hold it and like to the hand on. No, I don't remember. Well, you do it here.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's nose, strings, elbow, toes.
Okay. So let's put it down in rest position. And before you even put the violin up, you want to think about your posture. Okay. So you want to have a good way to start is so you want to how think of your spine and how it's central, the center of your back. That's where I always start. And it's kind of like you're almost getting in a conducting position.
Okay.
Students won't know what that means.
Right.
But, so it's feet about shoulder width apart. Difference depending on per person as it all happens. And everybody will evolve in their own comfort. The important thing is feeling comfortable and not being tense. You want to feel balanced. So it's not military straight, and it's not. You don't want to slump forward. Slumping forward, slouching forward is really bad for you when you're playing an upper string instrument. So just like if you're gonna put your hands to the side and hold the violin like you're doing, and then so rest position. And a cool trick to make sure that your arm stays loose is you're gonna put your hand like this in rest position, your left hand. So your thumb is gonna be right around the base of the neck. Okay? And then if you just like take your third finger and just like strum a few strings. Just like that. Okay? Now the best way to do it is take your right hand and put it here. And continue strumming. Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Now, so that just keeps your arm from tightening up. Because the one thing you won't want to do is have a tense arm when you're trying to play strings.
Right.
So that's a cool trick to make sure that your arm doesn't get tense, and it also gets your hand in the right position because you don't even think about it when you're transferring. Your wrist just does that. So that's a cool technique if you're having trouble or something tensing up.
Okay.
Now, when you get the violin or viola up to the playing position, as we call it, you want to rest on your shoulder. You just pull your head away for a second and just hold it like that. So what I'm going to say right now is your violin is a little bit, it's way back here. So you want to, let me set this down.
Pull it further forward?
Yeah. You want to take it and pull it kind of like that. Okay? Because when you're way back here, that strains your shoulder, and it also makes everything harder because you're back here.
Okay.
So you kind of want it in front of you.
Okay.
And almost, so you've got it almost at like a 45-degree angle this way. You want to think about it almost a little bit more than a 45-degree angle from the center of the front.
Oh, the angle of this compared to myself?
From like here to there.
So like this?
Yeah, so instead of way back here, you're just a little
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Next thing is holding violin. Now, some people say that you should, there's two different fields of thought on this. So either holding the violin more with your neck and the weight of your head, or holding it more with the weight of your hand. So we're going to look at the head. So if you take your head and just go like this, like wave your head around, do figure eights or something, and just relax your head straight and forward. Okay? And then bring your head over and just drop it down on the chin. Okay? And you can almost take your hand away. Now mine is a little bit different because my sponge is moving. But, I mean, the violin is going to drop down, the viola is going to drop down a little bit because of the weight of the head of the instrument.
Mm-hmm.
But, you don't want to squeeze because the minute you get tension in your neck, that's going to affect your playing in your arm again. So it's just the weight of your head on the violin. Like that.
Okay.
Okay? Now, try kicking it down the rest
found
position.
it. Okay.
Yeah, you see? You see?
I don't know. Okay, so...
Now, a good thing for this is we did this before. Now, most people do that. I mean, you'll see in the normal orchestra violin. But to get it so that an exercise is Statue of Liberty.
This is what, okay, so I've forgotten.
You go Statue of Liberty, you want the violin facing away from you. And then you take it and go like this. So it's a swinging motion.
Okay.
And it rests on your shoulder, and you rest your head down.
Okay.
And it'll take some getting used to. You can mess around with the way your shoulder rest is, so different angles of the shoulder rest, different heights and stuff like that. And then just pressing like that.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna give you the viola, and you can look at the difference. I'm gonna put on the shoulder rest because I have a long neck, so the shoulder rest is taller. Put on this one. 1, 2. Okay. Take that and feel how different it's bigger. I'm gonna take your violin.
Yeah, that might be a little bit short for you.
That's okay.
To the rest.
Listen to small little violin. It feels funny coming from that.
Oh yeah, I know. Flute to piccolo. Yep.
Okay, so now we're gonna do the exact same thing we were doing.
So the swing, the Statue of Liberty,
Let's
or the
start
initial?
with just the initial one with the right hand because it's a different instrument.
So strumming, right? Okay.
Just keep the fingers moving. Don't even think about this one. And find a comfortable spot. Yep. See, it's bigger.
Okay. Ow.
The width of the instrument is different, and it's a heavier instrument. So get into place.
Oh, my neck is long though. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So you get there, and then it's basically the same setup. Your arm is maybe a little bit further out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to change the way your fingers are adjusted and everything.
Right.
And then because the width of the instrument is different, it's going to change the feeling of the instrument on your neck.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's little changes, but it's overall, generally it's the same.
Okay.
Okay.
That's why you can teach him with one or the other?
Yeah.
Okay.
The reason why a lot of teachers say, I'll teach viola with violin is because sometimes they're teaching dual lessons or something, or they have a violin, they don't have an extra viola or something like that. And what happens if, say, you're playing on the C string, which is
the G for violin? Oh, the lowest.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's the lowest string. So you'll just have to hop up on. You'll just have to go up the octave or something as a string player or a teacher using a violin or viola. The other thing is the clef, which is different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're gonna do a bow now. Well, let's do the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So here.
Yep. Just like that. You see, you would probably need a different chin rest, just because of the way your body, the size of your body, and the way you hold it. Okay. So I will give you the violin back because this is set up for you. Okay.
And then you want to do bow. So do you want me to get this up?
Okay, we got a couple minutes. Let's set this down, and we're gonna pick up the bow, and I'm gonna teach you about the bow. Okay.
Do you want me to pick mine up? Or?
Yeah. Well, let me show you first. Okay. So this is a viola bow. It tends to be a little bit longer, or it all depends on the player. I believe it's a little bit longer. I'm not actually sure. Sorry about that. But so the bow, you've got the stick of the bow. Sometimes wood, sometimes fiberglass. Modern ones even carbon fiber. Then you've got the frog, which is this black ebony part here. Your screw for tightening, your tip, and top, bottom, and your hair. You want to try not to touch the hair too much because the grease on your fingers can affect how the hair ages and stuff. Now when you're tightening a bow, general rule for young educators, you say, tighten your bow 5 turns and then loosen it 5 turns, just so that it's not over tightened or over loosened by your student. Right? For us, because we're older, it's until you've got a general amount of tension. For people with smaller fingers, the way I originally learned back in high school was you can almost put your pinky in there For me, the best way, because I have bigger fingers, is it's right when you can put just a little bit of tension on it using your hand to feel that, and you can't push the bow all the way down the pit.
Okay.
So I mean, it's generally about 5 turns of the screw. You don't want to over tighten because strains on the bow. Playing too loose, you won't get the same sound, and you'll know that you're not tightening it down. Okay. Now holding the bow. Now you can pick up the bow. So you said that you guys learned on a pencil. Okay. So how about I'm gonna give you a pencil, and I'll take your bow. I just want you to do the bow grip.
Okay. So what they do is you hold the tip sideways, monkey hang, thumb under, sideways, relax.
Yep. And it's great what you're doing here because you've got the pronation, which is turning your fingers towards the top of the bow.
Okay.
Because that's what I get that for. Because I'm a bass player, we don't pronate our hands.
Right. Okay. So
So I'm going to hand you your bow back. And then I'm going to have you hold your bow about like mid-length so that it's about the balance point of the bow is going to be not in the middle. It's going to be a little bit more towards the frog end. Okay? So right about there. Yep. That'll be important later in like bow and stuff. So like you said, drape your hand over, thumb, and then pinky, stuff like that. Okay? So the reason why your pinky is back there like that, you want to try not to lock your pinky up. But keep on holding the bow because that. Okay. It might be better if you hold it up like this. Yeah. Okay. So your thumb. See how the top of the frog here?
Yeah.
Your thumb on an upper string instrument is right about, kind of like this. See how my thumb is like that?
Yeah.
Hanging on the tip.
Like that.
If you have a bigger thumb, it slips in there a little bit. Okay?
Okay.
So then your finger is right about the second knuckle of your fingers. And obviously your longer fingers are going to drape over a little bit more towards the bottom. And you just want to relax and hang there. Okay? Then the pinky is the big thing. So I'm going to pick up my instrument and I'm going to show you. Yeah. So you want it. The reason why the pinky is up there is because when you're playing, your bow is actually angled towards the top of the instrument, away from the bridge. Okay? So the pinky holds that in place. So it's the bevel. So if you hold this bow straight up and down, turn it away from you, and put your pinky on the first bevel. Do you have bevels on yours? Yes, you do. Good. So your pinky is always going to be further back.
Okay.
And it takes a little bit of practice to get used to it. Because the pinky, as you're playing, also has an important role. Because you don't want to lock up your pinky. Because as you're drawing on the violin, the pinky changes the pressure as you come further out. And if you lock up your pinky, your bow will do crazy things up here in the straight draw and stuff. And it will also, if you lock up your pinky down here, it's very hard to get going again because it's causing tension in your arm and everything.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So let's go over the bow grip really quickly.
So
like that. And drape your hand over. Thumb. You want your thumb to be bent a little bit. Don't want to lock up your thumb either. Finish draping your fingers over and put your pinky in place on the second bevel as you angle the bow away from you. And go like this. And your wrist is going to be a little bit bent when you're in this position. And the bow hair is going to be almost towards you. Okay? And then you go up and down like this. And swing it around, get a little used to it, stuff like that. Circles. Stuff like that. And if this is called rocket ship, stuff like that.
Right.
This is called wiping the car, waxing the car, wax on, wax off, you know. Then another one that some people will do is windshield wiper, but Dr. Tramposh and myself actually, because once you get to here, your bow's never going to be down here when you're playing. So it's almost like you could go like this. It's never going to be down here either, but maybe a smaller thing. Just that builds muscle and stuff and keeps your hand loose and stuff. Because it's all about keeping the hand relaxed and flexible.
Okay.
Because when you're playing, your fingers flex and change directions. And my hand is actually not looking the right way at the moment. But, so, even if you just go like this,
okay.
The main thing is, keeping your fingers flexible and having that copper bubble. And that pinky will slide off and everything because it's not used to doing anything because it's a weak finger. Okay? So then, loosening the bow.
The 5 on 2.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you'll see this string get loose. Now, if you ever see it and it's like really loose, the peg's coming out like that, you don't want to do that. It's usually when the person rehairs a bow, they rehair it properly so that it's loose enough is a little bit past where it connects with the rest of it.
Okay.